This is my free Coleman mini bike, and as you can see, it looks pretty rough. Now, besides all the dirt and rust and all that, you might be asking me, where's the engine? And that's a pretty good question. And I'll show you guys. Here's the engine that came with it, and as you can see, it's in no better condition.
No.
Had outside for a very long time, so I figured there's no point in keeping it. Now, with all of this, you can probably see why I got it for free. But now the question is, what do I do with a free mini bike frame and a junky engine? And the answer lies right here. This is an Afranti motorized 2-stroke bicycle engine that I picked up on no other than Amazon for $150. Now, I have experience with these engines in the past with pretty much all of this stuff. A couple things are new to me that we're going to learn together. This is a new exhaust I'm trying out. This does not come with the kit. And there's a couple other things, chain tensioner, axle for the mini bike, just like, there's lots of random parts. Now, obviously, this engine is not going to work too well in this mini bike because obviously it's missing a little bit in the middle where a bike frame would usually go. Usually you'd have a bike frame that would go around here and there, and the engine would sit right in the center, and it mounts here and here on the cross pieces. Now, obviously that's missing on this bike, so that's something we're going to have to figure out. Maybe make some custom brackets and something to mount the engine. Also, the rear tire is a little different of how the sprocket mounts, so I'm not even sure if I'll be able to use the sprocket. So all these things we're going to have to figure out together, and I'm super excited to show you guys how to do all this and my thought process, and yeah. Okay, now the first problem with this project is actually not the bike or the sprocket fitting or anything. It's actually the engine right out of the box. Now these things are cheaply made and not very much gets stopped when it's getting assembled. So sometimes these head bolts come loose, sometimes the clutch doesn't work, sometimes it doesn't even turn over, sometimes this is blocked, sometimes this is broken, sometimes the internals and all these covers are broken. And we're going to check all that and just do some preventative stuff from past experience on these. The main culprit behind these covers is this one, which houses the magneto. And the screws are known to come out, and then the magneto self-destructs, and then your bike won't start. Focus on this one and make sure everything else is tight. So let's get into it. And already to start, I barely pulled the trigger on this. Now, this is a small impact, but I barely pulled the trigger, and this was finger tight, maybe. And yeah, it's a pretty small screw to be housing something important. Let's see if any of the other ones are hand tight. This one, hand tight. Third one, hand tight. Fourth one, hand tight as well. And this is why we check. So inside you have just your magneto. This is what makes spark, and if you want to hook up lights, there's an extra wire. I believe it's this black one. So these screws are known to come out, and then all these little plates are individual, and they'll pop out, and this cover will obviously be on, and it'll just self-destruct. So we're going to make sure these are tight. Get our regular Phillips screwdriver. Really twist these on. Actually, after a little bit of thought, I'm going to take these all the way out and just put Loctite on them, and then I never have to worry about them. I'll just take some Loctite. Just blue Loctite's all I have, so not too much, just a little bit. All right, now with these all tight, we're gonna go ahead and install this cover. I'm not gonna put Loctite on these bolts that hold the housing because there's not really a point, and they'll probably come off pretty frequently. And I'll just make sure to tighten them and make sure to check them as part of my maintenance. Now, as this is aluminum, you don't want to go too tight. I'm gonna very carefully snug these in with impact. So now we get to check all of these. Alright, so all the other covered bolts were all tight and good, but everything else is tight. The final thing I want to check is that these head bolts are tight. These are known to come loose, so I think we'll just loosen them and re-torque them down to the right torque spec. Surprisingly, the instruction manual comes with the torque spec. It's supposed to be 12 foot-pounds in an X pattern. But yeah, I have my torque wrench sent to 12 foot-pounds. It's a 13 mil. So we're gonna break them loose and then re-torque them just to make sure. Okay, so those are all correctly double checked. So now this should be set to go inside the bike. Actually, it'll be easier to know what to do on the bike if we fit the exhaust, and we'll see how that looks inside the bike frame, and then we'll plan from there. Okay, now this exhaust is not what came with the engine, and it came with a slightly better gasket. The one that was on the engine was broken. I don't know if you guys can see it. It was broken right there. So probably not a big deal, but you know, still. So that came with a new gasket. I think it's slightly better. Okay, that's all tightened now. It's actually a pretty good solid thing. So we're gonna go put this in the bike and just see what it looks like. Obviously I don't have any mounting yet, but this will help me know what to expect. Okay, with the engine in the frame, it has a lot of space, so I'm not too worried about fitting. So if we stand this up a little bit and eyeball the chain area, it looks like it'll probably sit, see if I can do this one-handed. It'll probably sit up more. The chain might line up. We'll see how, yeah, that's pretty good. This is just what it looks like from the other side. So yeah, it definitely doesn't fill the whole bike frame at all, but I think once we raise it up and add the supports and stuff, I think it'll fill it up right. Okay, now that we have the engine pretty much ready to go, we're gonna start trying to fit things onto the frame. The first being this axle bolt. The threads are stripped out on the other side, so we're just going to go ahead and replace that with brand new one. And then we're also going to see if this sprocket will work, or we're going to have to do some modification. Okay, we got the old axle out, and as you can see, maybe you can see, the threads are pretty smashed at the beginning, so it's really hard to get the nut to start. And then the nut stripped out, so I just had to buy a new one. Here's the new one. So we're not going to install this quite yet. We're going to just see what we're going to have to do to get this sprocket to fit. So I actually ordered an OEM Coleman sprocket. This is a 50 tooth. The only thing I didn't check was that the teeth on it are too big. I believe this is a 420 and the bike ones are 410. So slight difference in the sprocket sizing. The thing is, this hole is the correct diameter, so this should line up right to this. Yeah, so this lines up right to it. This one almost does. We're gonna have to find some way to get this hole to match this one. So that's what we're going to figure out next. Okay, so I think I found a way that we can get this sprocket that came with the kit on this tire. So we're going to take the mounting hardware that came in the kit, this comes in the kit, and I marked holes using the OEM sprocket for where this will be centered on that, and this will act as a spacer on either side. And basically it'll be how you install it on these bikes that you're supposed to install this on. but it'll just be a little different. So we're gonna go ahead and drill this out, and then we're gonna drill the next one out. Okay, there's the extra holes drilled out. There's one that lined up pretty well already, so I think we're just gonna use that one. So now I cut this one so you could get it around this axle part right here. So just cut it and then you'll be able to slide it around. So now we just need to do the same, and I'll get these holes drilled out and then we can try and do a test fit. Okay, got these all drilled out. Now it's time to see if we can fit the sprocket. So I'll just put this one on first. Again, it's cut so it goes around where the axle would be. And our bag of hardware. It doesn't come organized at all, but you just kind of have to dig through it and find things that match. We're just going to get a couple of these. I think we'll start with 3, because that's all the holes I drilled, and we'll see how strong it is. Probably have to add more. Okay, let's see how this fits up, or if we'll have to drill more holes. Okay, after a little bit of thought of trying to install it, I forgot to drill holes on this, so I'm going to go ahead and drill holes on this, and we'll come right back to where we are now. Okay, now we have extra holes drilled. Now we can actually fit it on the bike. So this first test fit, it seems all right. We're able to use some of the holes on the original housing. You can see we're pretty well centered. So I'll just take this off to show you guys, but behind here, but basically our bolts, they go through the original housing. We're just gonna do 3 for now, just to get everything lined up. I'll get the 4th one in later, but really I think 3 is plenty to hold this. We'll get this tightened down and see if we run into any more problems putting the new axle in, and then we should be able to get the chain lined up and we can start on our brackets for mounting the engine. Okay, now it's time to get the new axle installed. All right, now I'm going to struggle to get this installed. Okay, after much difficulty, I got it lined up, so we're going to gently tap this into place. Here you can see that the axle is finally installed after much difficulty, but we got it all together and it works great. So unfortunately, I don't have any hardware or enough hardware to space out this axle correctly. So for right now, I kind of just mocked it up, and right now I'm just kind of stretching the chain to see how it's going to work and if we're going to run into any problems, and if we're going to have to cut this out or if I'm going to be able to weld to it. Here I am just doing my best to line the chain up and get a rough idea of where the engine will sit using blocks of wood. This will help to get measurements for the pipe length I need to cut in order to mount the engine. We made a lot of progress. A lot of this was unknown, so the fact that we were able to get the sprocket mounted, engine lined up, and it looks like it'll work, that means the next video we will be able to weld the engine in, get the chain all hooked up, and in theory, we could have our first start. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys hopefully on our next video where we will be starting this.